The word dynasty should probably only be used when talking about centuries-long Chinese empires. But as the Chicago Bulls began the 1997-98 season, dynasty was the only word that came to mind. With 5 NBA championships in the 90s, the Bulls posed a question. Why shouldn't this amazing club win another before the new millennium?
We're entitled to defend what we have until we lose it.
Why shouldn't the incomparable Michael Jordan lead his team to an epic height? To a place where only emperors go?
If we lose it, then you look at it and you say, okay, let's change.
It was the last dance, said Coach Jackson. A farewell tour for this great dynasty. There was never an empty seat to see the Bulls. Everywhere this group went, the lights came on and the people came out. But through it all, they never flinched. They grew tired at times. And sometimes they looked almost mortal. But at the end, they showed just what they were. Dynasty was the right word. As they began the 1998 season, the Chicago Bulls had secured their place as one of sport's greatest dynasties. But after 5 titles in 7 years, the Bulls now had an air of finality amid rumors of their impending breakup.
Our first meeting back in the summer, Phil passed out our handbooks for the year, and on the cover there it was, The Last Dance. And to think that this is the last season being together is a pretty heavy thing to think about.
But the distraction of their uncertain future would prove far less of a challenge than an early injury to Scottie Pippen.
Scottie Pippen of the Bulls will be out for 2 to 3 months. It's an injury that's been bothering him dating back to the Eastern Conference Finals.
We were dealt with the deficit early on. That was Scottie Pippen being out. So we had to basically, put our boots on and go out there and somehow find a way to survive.
The implications of not having him and needing him was quite obvious. And so it was a bitter pill to swallow.
And as they opened the season in Boston, the Bulls would immediately discover just how difficult a test lay ahead of them.
5-point lead, Ron Mercer, basket, and a foul, and a shocker on opening night as the Boston Celtics have beaten the Chicago Bulls.
Through the first 15 games, the Bulls had not only lost their invincible aura, they struggled just to keep their record above 500.
That's the most uncertain I've seen our team. Our confidence got low. I think it sort of, twisted the team out of whack.
Jordan and the Bulls try to tie it in the final seconds. Jordan misses the 3, Smitty the rebound, and the Hawks have won the game.
When you're playing other teams, they're salivating now when they see that they have a chance to beat you.
Coming to get it, Hawkins with 6, dropped it low to Baker with 5 for the game. The shot, he got it with 3 seconds remaining in the game.
I remember one particular game in Cleveland where we lost by about 20 points, and Michael was saying in the locker room afterwards that he shouldn't have even come back, and it was ugly.
And without an option of Scottie Pippen at 19 points a game, they are struggling to try to find the right combination. Travis Best puts the nail in the coffin. Oh, that's a monster win for Indiana.
Pacers go on to the win, dropping the Bulls to 8-7 last season. Chicago didn't lose their 7th until game 56.
We lost the game in Indiana, and I think the guys realized that this is no fun. We got to get it going.
While there were some who questioned Chicago's resolve, Michael Jordan wasn't one of them.
Michael, are you resigned to the fact that it's going to be like this for a couple months until Scottie comes back?
No. Well, I wouldn't assume that if I were you guys either.
As he had done so many times before, Jordan would take it upon himself to carry the Bulls.
And this is one of the great challenge takers of all time, and we had Blitz in our game for a while, and he's going to be the first guy to step up to the plate.
Michael with elevation.
Kicks it out.
Gone. What a play. Michael Jordan.
Tony Kukoc, 4-3. Short. 2 seconds. 1 second. This is to tie. Oh! Yes, sir!
He just stepped to a higher level and somewhat put on that cape and, said, okay, I have to do whatever it takes.
Jordan has it. Top of the key. Moves up at the buzzer. He did it again.
Michael Jordan has beaten the Hawks again.
And Michael would continue to command center stage at the All-Star Game in New York City, where he put on a dazzling show.
I'm only going to allow him to have his trophy if he promises to come back and do it again. The All-Star of All-Stars, the MVP, Michael Jordan.
And Jordan would get a lift from a healthy Scottie Pippen, whose time off had not been wasted.
After missing 35 games, it gave me a great opportunity to really evaluate and see the value in what I could bring back to the team.
What Scottie brought was his vast array of skills, and his comeback instantly galvanized the Bulls.
Stripped by Pippen. Back he comes in transition. Dishes to Michael. Well, that's what Pippen was talking about.
You're talking about a guy who's been on the all-defensive team for a number of years and is very proud of the fact that he can shut a guy down.
Scottie's return really picked up our spirits, and I think that's one of the reasons we started to play a lot better.
As for Weber, stolen by Pippen. Scottie Pippen in the passing lane again.
If you have one of your stars that has feelings like that, you know, it'll just trickle down to the rest of the guys.
With Pippen as the catalyst, the Bulls' offense roared into high gear as they began to recapture their championship form.
And still loose on the floor, and Scottie will hammer this one down.
I warned everybody else in the league. I mean, basically said it, you know, guys better get your leads now and get ahead of us now, because when Scottie gets back, we could run the table.
And the Bulls would do just that.
The Chicago Bulls, one of the best rebounding teams always in the NBA. Pippen to the hole. They're the best right now. They lead the NBA in rebounding. Give and go. Randy Brown to Longley from Kukoc. That is a textbook play by the Bulls. And here's a steal, and Harper with Clyde in for two. And Chicago leads it 17-9.
You see the fear in the other team's eyes, and you see that they're beaten sometimes, you know, in the middle of the game.
Rodman battling for the rebound, saving it in, and Kerr snatches it out of the air and drills it, and that's winning basketball.
We made teams pay a large price.
Now Brown, oh yeah, the sequence.
Blocked by Brown. George Kukoc, Harper, 2 and a foul.
Kukoc catches, fires.
Wow, Jackson can't believe that.
The putback is good from Wennington. Oh, my goodness. Pippen forces it out, makes the three.
Rodman after Pippen got the loose ball, and Jordan hits the open shot. The Bulls are doing it all.
2 seconds to shoot over Houston. Got it.
It must be the shoes.
Michael. Oh, my goodness. A number of the players and even 2 of the officials are laughing.
Putting their early season troubles behind them, Chicago steamrolled to a record of 62-20. And as they looked toward the playoffs, the Bulls were confident that they were ready to embark on one more championship run. If this were to be the last dance, they were determined to make it one to remember.
We're at the United Center in Chicago, opening of the NBA playoffs. Tonight, game 1 of round 1 and the start of a best-of-5 series against the New Jersey Nets.
Starts off with hard work, ends in champagne. Let's start.
What time is it?
In the playoffs, the Bulls began their championship quest against the 8th-seeded New Jersey Nets.
And you can see the athleticism of the New Jersey Nets early on, and a shocked crowd, and Bill Jackson watches the Bulls trail by 7.
Tony Kukoc, a drive and a fucking whip stop.
As expected, the champions weren't fazed by an early hole and calmly set about dismantling New Jersey.
Here's Ron Harper stuffing it through.
Good, score it. Beautiful basketball by the Bulls.
Jordan over Kittle's hits.
The Nets, however, were not prepared to cooperate with the Bulls' plans.
Big jam from Roll. The Nets keep coming. Under 2 minutes to go, it's Gatling. He had 24. Here are 2 of them.
Coming from 14 points down, the Nets tied the game.
The ball game will go to overtime.
Just one quick second, and the next thing you know, the lead was gone, and we was in a dogfight. It was hard, it was tough, but yet we know how to focus and we know how to succeed during the tough times.
With less than a minute left in overtime and the score tied, Jordan would demonstrate that focus with one crucial play.
Tied at 89, we go to overtime.
Knocked away, stolen by Michael. MJ on the right. Michael dumps the ball and a foul. Oh my!
Though Jordan's dramatic steal clinched Game 1, Chicago had been given a jarring reminder that the postseason had arrived.
We were thankful to the New Jersey Nets for, sticking the game to us and making us have to bring our game up another notch.
And in Game 2, the Bulls would express their gratitude by elevating their performance.
Jordan wastes no time. His first shot. Where did that come from? And a reverse slam. High Bill winning time.
Chicago is going to take the 2 games at home, but it turns out to have been much more difficult than they anticipated.
The guys play a level of competition. If your competition raises the bar, then our guys have that ability to raise the bar even higher.
In Game 3, they would raise the bar beyond the Nets' reach.
Here's Jordan, left open for the 3, and he's got it. Michael Jordan. Jordan with a feint on Kittles and hits. Michael Jordan now with 5 points. Michael Jordan working his way in the lane and hits. Now Kukoc. Jordan with a feint on Harris and a fall away. Michael Jordan working against Kittles. Gets Kittles in the air and Jordan hits. Paxton, Michael J. Michael Jordan at the buzzer hits. Michael Jordan 9 of 10 from the field. Michael Jordan with a very difficult shot. Falling away toward the baseline against Kittles. Now 12 of 15 from the field.
Leading the Bulls to a sweep, Jordan scored 38 points, destroying New Jersey from every spot on the floor, then left a lasting impression.
Michael Jordan, I told him after the game, I'm proud of him on and off the court. I think he's one of the most amazing men I ever met in my life besides my father, Bill Cosby. I know I'm ranked behind Bill Cosby and Jason's father, so I'm third.
As they moved into the second round against the Charlotte Hornets, the Bulls would continue a familiar pattern.
Wesley lost it to Pippen. Back comes Chicago. Scotty, the pull-up 3. Got it! Now it's Michael. Spinning, shooting over Wesley, and there's his first basket.
Great pass to Rodman from Jordan. Oh, what a beautiful pass.
Rolling to victory in Game 1, the Bulls seemed ready to assert their dominance. But in Game 2, their attack would grind to a halt, and Charlotte would take full advantage.
Here is B.J. Armstrong with the jumper. Yeah, that was just bad defense.
Charlotte all over the Bulls. They're out hustling him early.
And B.J. Armstrong pushing it up, guarded by Kerr. And now B.J. Armstrong, the former Chicago Bull, hits a basket to give the Hornets a 3-point lead.
The Bulls look way out of sync right now.
For almost 4 quarters, the Bulls had struggled to grab control of the game, but in the final minutes, it would slip away. And, adding insult to injury, a former teammate would seal their fate.
Armstrong backs up to the sideline. Works off a Devon screen to the right wing. Pull up, pocket, goal!
And then glares at the Bulls bench.
And the Charlotte Hornets have evened the series in a stunning upset over the Chicago Bulls.
In a stunning finish, the Bulls had lost the game, and with it, the home court advantage. And they also had to endure the sight of Armstrong and his jubilant teammates celebrating at their expense.
I don't know. We've got to pick up the intensity. We're not. We don't seem to have a lot of fire out there. Maybe this will wake us up.
When someone comes in front of your bench, starts screaming in front of your bench on your home court, I mean, it just motivates you.
As the series moved to Charlotte, the Bulls would prove that the Hornets' celebration was far too premature.
Let's go. What time is it? Great time. Jordan with a turnaround over Armstrong. He knew he had him.
Pip to the baseline with a drive, and the left corner to foul.
Michael Jordan has 20, and the Bulls doing everything right.
Kerr up ahead for Pippen, and Pippen, are you kidding? Midair. Are you kidding me?
MJ right around Wesley for the slam. MJ turnaround baseline jumper over B.J. Armstrong, and it's good. That one never even touched the net, much less the rim. That was perfect.
Jordan lost Steve out. Couple baseline for the layup. Oh, see you later, bloody.
You see the activity level of Chicago really picking up now. They're getting more frenetic on defense. They're forcing some turnovers. Charlotte really has lost their composure, have not been able to score. Chicago's taking advantage of it.
Overwhelming the Hornets in games 3 and 4, the Bulls emphatically answered their wake-up call.
This team likes a challenge. If you're going to let us go out and go through the motions and beat you, we will. But if you challenge us, we're going to move up our level of play to the next level, and that's what we did.
And they weren't about to let up, as the Bulls would seize Game 5 back in Chicago.
Charlotte mentally has conceded to the Chicago Bulls.
And the final score, 93-84, as the Bulls knock out the Hornets in 5 and will now face the Indiana Pacers.
And moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals, the Bulls had left the Hornets with a hard-earned lesson.
I think BJ kind of forgot, about us, what drives us. We utilized that energy that he used at the end of Game 2 to our advantage, and we're good at that. So, he woke us up.
It's my privilege to present Michael Jordan with his 5th NBA Most Valuable Player trophy. May I say on behalf of everyone this evening, thank you.
While Jordan received the accolades prior to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Indiana Pacers, it was Michael's sidekick Scottie Pippen who would set the tone as the series began.
I think we really surprised them in putting Scottie on Mark Jackson.
By hounding the every move of Indiana point guard Mark Jackson, Pippen applied a stranglehold to the Pacers' attack.
That was my job, was to go out and try to take Mark Jackson out of the game.
Scottie Pippen is making life miserable right now for Mark Jackson.
You try to cut the head off the snake to kill it.
Pippen comes up with the loose ball as Jackson lost it.
He couldn't deliver the ball in the split-second timing that guys were open. We forced teams into bad shots or turnovers, and we're running the other way.
While Pippen was spearheading the Bulls, stifling defense in games 1 and 2, Michael Jordan was taking care of the offense.
Michael to the hole, reverse, lost the foul. Michael with the steal. Game 1 to Chicago.
With Jordan at his spectacular best, Chicago captured the first 2 games and took a firm grip on the series.
Jordan to the baseline, falling, firing, scores! Oh, what a shot by Michael Jordan! And that may be the exclamation point.
Bulls are winners 104-98. Bulls lead this series 2-0. Jordan, 41 points.
This series is far from over. Now we're going back home and hopefully take care of business there.
Arriving in Indianapolis for games 3 and 4, Chicago found not only a frenzied crowd awaiting them, but also a rejuvenated Pacer team.
Jackson pushes it back the other way. Inside, Davis, it's all alone.
They gave us trouble. They always had guys stepping up and doing a job for them.
Miller, catch, shoot, score.
With the Bulls now making uncharacteristic mistakes. The change in venues had brought a dramatic change in momentum. Unleashing their offense, the Pacers came storming back into the series. Led by Reggie Miller, the Pacers took Game 3, and the Bulls' grasp on the series continued to slip away in Game 4.
From our standpoint, we felt like that we sort of gave those games away.
It's Miller for 3. Michael starting to heat up after a slow start. It's a 1-point game. Indiana has a timeout. They elect not to use it. McKee looking. Gets it in for Miller. Batted away. Grabbed by Pippen, and they have to foul him. A miss. Missed them both. Loose ball out of bounds. Who's got it? Indiana ball with 2.9 seconds.
I felt as though we really didn't do ourselves justice, didn't take care of business. I think we let ourselves down.
Trailing by 1 in the final seconds, the Pacers would change the series' entire complexion with one bold stroke.
Jordan is on Best. Harper's on Miller. McKee gets it in the Miller for the win. 4/10 of a second. One of the greatest
a sudden it went from being sort of a ho-hum 5-game series, which everybody expected, to we're in a dogfight.
Kukoc to Michael at the buzzer.
It rimmed out! It rimmed out! It rimmed out! It rimmed out! And it's 2-2! Unbelievable!
Knowing Michael and knowing the competitive drive that he has, I know on that flight home, he is cursing and cussing everyone out on that plane. So I know they'll be ready for Wednesday.
Still got to come through Chicago. Utah, Indiana, they still got to come to Chicago. I don't care what happens today, I don't care what happened in the other series. You know, it's still got to come through Chicago.
Back in the United Center, Chicago wasted little time erasing the memories of their 2 demoralizing defeats. Once again clamping down on the Pacers' offense, the Bulls stampeded their way to a blowout victory and regained command of the series.
They are running the Pacers out of the building.
Though they were now just one step away from the NBA Finals, Chicago would again find themselves derailed in Game 6.
Travis Best drives himself one hand high, good, high off the glass, 33 seconds.
Down the stretch, the Pacers made all the big plays, while the Bulls and the greatest basketball player of all time would again falter.
He stumbles and loses it. The Pacers and the Bulls will take it to 11.
The Bulls had entered unfamiliar territory, facing elimination.
I told them today that you can lose. You have to face the possibility you can lose a game like this.
We're going to win Game 7. I never make promises. I don't make promises to my wife, but we will win Game 7.
The Pacers and the 2-time defending world champions, the Chicago Bulls, get set to play Game 7.
And the Eastern Conference is boiled down to one game.
Even though the 7th game is at home, no one likes to play in 7th games because anything can happen.
Playing in a 7th for the first time in 4 years, the Bulls came out surprisingly flat, while the Pacers appeared confident and in control.
Miller lobs to Smits. He finds Dale Davis, who gets inside for the dunk.
This is no way to start a Game 7. They are letting the Pacers dictate everything right now.
Pacers have a 13-point lead.
Looked pretty bleak there. We weren't getting good shots. We couldn't stop them.
Guys weren't shooting the ball well. We just had to find an offensive momentum turner.
Man, he knocked bodies flying everywhere. Michael back up and good.
Struggling for points and searching for answers, the Bulls would rely on defense and intensity to claw their way back.
Antonio Davis surrounded, and his pass picked off by Kerr. Here comes the crowd, and here come the Bulls.
You know, we understood, where we were in the game and that we had to come up with loose balls, and we just kept getting the ball back and find another way to get an opportunity to score.
Jordan up on Reggie, working on him. Shooting it against him and getting the ball. That's a foul perhaps. Pippen got a hand on it. Longley picks it up. Here's a 2-on-1 break. Michael to Pippen the
Chicago's frantic comeback had given them a 3-point halftime lead, and in the third quarter, their offense was finally ignited by Tony Kukoc, who would almost single-handedly keep the Bulls in the lead.
After hitting shot or two, I was just thinking, it's going to be fine. It's going to be good.
Kukoc again. Good again. Kukoc. 3 in a row, and that was a 3. Here is Jordan. To Kukoc, who's been on fire, and stays that way.
It's 68-61. The Bulls are in control of 7.
Hey, it's 2 minutes and 51 seconds left in the quarter. Finish quarter's gone.
But the Pacers had a plan of their own, and now they would make a late charge that had the Bulls suddenly back on their heels.
Bushler is on Rose. Around an Antonio Davis screen to the jump shot that evens the issue at 69. They've got a break if they push it. It's Best from there, and he lays it up and in, plus the foul.
Give Indiana credit. They have been like a pit bull. They just get a hold of you and won't let go.
Score it, and Smits is on the free throw line. He has put the Pacers up.
Trailing now with just minutes left in their season, the Bulls were facing perhaps the greatest test of their determination and resolve.
Jordan knocked away by McKee and cleanly. And a jump ball was called.
It was almost a game of wills, I think, that we just can't let it end here. We're not done.
Michael can really jump, but Smits is 7-4.
This could be as good as a turnover.
Everybody wants to win. They talk about winning. But this team, I truly believe, refuses to lose.
Smith's tipped it to right to Pippen.
And as Chicago grabbed one more crucial loose ball, it seemed they had found just enough momentum to turn the game their way.
Kerr can't tie it. And done!
Everybody on the bench jumped up. They all knew that now it's our turn to take this critical game and put it in our favor.
And in the closing minutes, the Bulls finally finished off the Pacers, surviving one of the most grueling challenges of their championship reign.
Chicago leads it, 81-79. They look for Smith, and Harper deflects it and comes up with a steal. 5 on the shot clock. Michael dumps it off to an open Longley. And the Bulls have a little bit of breathing room.
Here comes Pippen, a drive. He got inside. Shot is good, and a foul.
And on to the fighters. For the 6th time in 8 years, go the Chicago Bulls. But what Michael Jordan termed a bump in the road was anything but. It was a mountain to climb. And they barely reached the summit.
But still, the question remained, how much would Chicago have left to try and finish their championship run?
Sure, physically, we may be a little tired, but we got the hearts. Our heart is not tired.
The NBA title up for grabs beginning Wednesday night in Salt Lake City. Part 2 between the defending champs and the Mailman's crew.
Tonight, Game 1 of the NBA World Championship.
The Chicago Bulls are back again. It's the 6th time in this decade they haven't lost, but I get the feeling this time could be different.
There is a widespread feeling that of the 6 times the Chicago Bulls have been to the NBA Finals, this year's Utah Jazz are the team best equipped to derail them.
On paper, Utah's the favorite.
The Bulls have beaten every team in the league this season except the Utah Jazz.
Eventually, to win, Karl Malone is going to have to confront Michael straight in his head on and say, Michael, what you have is now mine. Take the first option and tell them. Rest him in all the options. Okay? Go, man. Come on now, let's go.
With the Bulls fighting fatigue after their 7-game battle, and the Jazz anxious to scrape away the rust from their 10-day layoff, each team was intent on proving they were ready for Game 1.
Working on Russell. Double team, Stockton comes over and steals. The Stockton waltzes in off the left side of the lane. Jordan cans the turnaround over Hornacek.
Both teams went neck and neck, neither side willing to give an inch in this high-stakes series opener.
Malone with a great pass to a cutting Russell. Good look. Pippen stutter step into the lane, lays it up and in.
Nicely done. He knifed right by Karl Malone. Stockton penetrates on Kerr, takes him to the glass. The floater's good on the run.
This is going to be a terrific series.
But as the contest wore on, the well-rested Jazz began to methodically wear down the Bulls.
Out to Pippen. In the lane for Simpkins, knocked away and stolen. It's a 4-on-1 break. Isley to Anderson.
Hornacek, great pass to Malone.
Rodman was just completely sealed behind Malone.
Russell on the run. And suddenly it's a wide-open game with the Jazz up by half a dozen.
With Chicago in dire need of a spark, they would look to Jordan to provide it.
Chant is beat the Bulls, beat the Bulls. But first, you have to stop Michael Jordan. But how about that one? As Jordan whirls through the defense.
But for every bull run, the Jazz had an answer.
Stockton has a good look and puts the jumper down. Stockton on the move. And banks it home. So Utah takes an 8-point lead into the 4th quarter.
Though they continued to battle from behind, the Bulls would draw upon their championship medal to make one final 4th quarter push.
Michael, good look, and he puts it down. Jordan from 20, good again. They can tie with a 3. Scotty to tie. Brand new game.
We're tied.
We're tied up. What an unbelievable comeback.
Facing a furious Chicago rally, the Jazz would look to their own superstar to respond.
Stockton trying to get it to Malone in the post. He fires again and finally hits one. Shot clock winding down. Malone has to. 2 in a row! And what a time to come alive!
But time had not yet run out on Chicago's stirring comeback.
Michael dishes to Longley. Up with the shot to tie the game. And it's overtime in Game 1.
Having finally caught the Jazz, the Bulls now appeared ready to finish them off, or so it seemed.
Malone from Stockton all the way to the basket.
The Bulls' rally had suddenly run out of steam, with their last flickering hopes snuffed out by John Stockton.
John Stockton closed the door for Utah in overtime and goes up on Chicago in game 1.
We have confidence in ourselves. You think I'm just back in the finals again just to be here? You know, I'm back to win a championship. And it's going to be tough, but I'm looking forward to the challenge.
This game is critical for Chicago. The road back from 0-2 is uphill, incredibly steep, and very, very long.
The Utah Jazz not only lead the finals 1-0, they're cooking. They have won 7 straight in the playoffs.
As they prepared for Game 2, the Bulls knew that Utah had the momentum. But as always, they remained undaunted.
I don't care how good you are, you still got to come and take this away from us, you know, and it's not that easy.
Back tap to Michael. His floater gives Chicago a 6-4 lead.
Left side drives the lane, comes to the glass of the slam, and Scottie Pippen goes to the rack again.
While the Bulls attacked the basket, the Jazz tried to counter from long range.
Stockton for 3.
John Stockton hits a huge play. We go seesawing.
Kukoc on the run. Air ball. Jordan there to clean up the mess.
Hornacek threw it away. Rodman ahead to Jordan.
And Michael brings it back and jams it home for their biggest lead, 61-53.
Chicago right now senses the kill.
If Utah hoped to stave off Chicago's assault, they'd need more firepower, and they'd get it from Jeff Hornacek.
Hornacek with room and with 2. Hornacek spinning move.
See, I love Jeff Hornacek as a player. I mean, he's gritty, he's gutsy, and he's going to give you everything that he has on the basketball court.
Hornacek for 3. It works out better for Utah. Hornacek. Jordan got a piece of it. Hornacek recovers, muscles it up and in.
Jazz fans on their feet at the Delta Center.
Utah on a huge run now. So 73-70, Jazz have retaken the lead.
And as the game entered the fourth quarter, both teams struggled to grab control of the contest.
Keith from Isley can't find the handle. Pippen chases it down.
Rebound tapped out of there. Rodman and Pippen fighting for it, and they lost it out of bounds.
Either could have taken it, and they combined to juggle it out of bounds.
Here's Malone again. He missed this one at point-blank range, though.
He had an easy layup, and he missed it.
Nothing dropping for him.
Oh, and Michael just wide open underneath, goes up, missed it.
Look on Michael Jordan's face. He is so frustrated.
In the game's final minutes, it would come down to the most basic of challenges.
Come on, guys, let's get down. Execute down the stretch.
With the shot clock winding down against Hornacek, Michael's going to do it. 2 defenders, a whistle, count the basket, plus the foul. Jordan on the run, dishes out to Pippen. Scottie baseline.
Great ball movement by Chicago.
Trailing by 2, the Jazz would also respond with execution.
Here comes Stockton on the drive, cut off, back outside. Hornacek's 3, yes! Oh, yes! Jeff Hornacek puts Utah ahead, 86-85.
The Jazz had attempted to deal the Bulls a final blow. Now Chicago's response would measure less their precision than their resourcefulness.
Kerr has to guard him. Stockton gets by him, but his pass is intercepted by Kukoc. Kerr, pull up 3. No! Got his own rebound. Michael hits it, and Chicago reclaims the lead.
What an unbelievable sequence of plays.
With one dramatic play, the Bulls had stolen the game and the precious home court advantage.
Chicago comes into Salt Lake City, weary or not, and gets out with a split.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Game 3 of the Finals, as the scene now shifts to the United Center on the west side of Chicago, with the Bulls and the Utah Jazz all even at a victory apiece. The next 3, Dr. Jack Ramsey, are here in Chicago.
The Bulls are going to hold serve, Brent. They've got to come out with a lot of intensity. Typically, they have not played with the same focus at home as they have on the road.
Gentlemen, Game 3. Veterans like yourselves, have a great game.
Stay up the dog.
And here's the Utah opening possession.
Malone wastes no time and hits the jump shot.
Over now to Hornacek. Back to Malone, drives the lane, comes for the layup, good.
As the first quarter unfolded, Utah's strategy was clear: to re-establish Malone as their main offensive weapon.
Malone again, squaring up, over Longley, 4 in a row. Malone, this time he drives. Same result though, whether it's to the hoop or from the perimeter, he's 5 of 5. Malone, fade away on Rodman, 6 for 6.
Karl Malone has hit 6 consecutive shots, unbelievable.
The mailman carrying Utah on his big shoulders right now.
If Malone had run free so far, Chicago's defense would now make sure to shackle him.
Karl on the run, a little hook is an air ball. Stockton to Karl, lays it in, but it won't count. Another offensive foul on Malone. Malone against Rodman, Harper there with help. Another offensive foul as Malone throws the elbow, and Rodman nods in both agreement and delight.
Having contained Malone, the Bulls would now shut down his teammates.
Offensive foul. Great position, Scottie Pippen. Utah cannot get into its rhythm. Stockton's having a nightmare against the Chicago defense.
Nicely, a fake and a drive on Harper, blocked by Harper, taken away. Great defense by the Bulls.
This Bulls defense is as good as it gets.
Sloan could stop the clock, but he couldn't stop the Bulls, as Chicago would now take charge.
One bounce, Pippen at the free throw line. Comes the lane, running, tough hook shot off the glass, good for Scottie Pippen.
Here's Scottie, into the lane, another runner. He hits it, plus he's coming to the line.
Scottie Pippen, the Bulls tearing the Jazz up.
Ladies and gentlemen, the rout is on in Chicago.
Michael the assist, Harper the slam. Michael spins on Hornacek to the left hand, an absolute beauty.
Bulls running away. They're up 60-38.
Jordan to the hole. Wrapped up by Ostertag, and somehow, some way, he scores. Total humiliation for the Utah Jazz. Beaten by 42. Chicago leads the series 2-1. But somehow, it seems like more than that.
This is actually the score? Is this the final? Seemed like they scored 196.
A win tonight here at the United Center means the Bulls get the chance to close it out at home on Friday.
So many questions to be answered by the Utah Jazz. How do you come back after a 42-point run?
After a blowout like that, you turn around and say, okay, well, it's one game, and we lost. We have to show up tonight and play hard-nosed Jazz basketball, else we're in trouble.
And from the start, Karl Malone made it clear that the Jazz would be a different team.
And he hits the hook over Longley here.
There you go, Karl. That's the way to do it.
Malone over Longley. He opens by hitting his first 3.
But Malone's hot start would be matched by Scottie Pippen.
Firing for 3. Oh, man.
Rebound, run down. Pippen goes and takes it away from Stockton. Left corner, 3, got it. Oh, baby. He's looking for an MVP.
Chicago was surging, but this time Malone and the Jazz refused to fold.
Malone gets inside position and brings Utah to within 1.
Can have a different intensity tonight.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yep.
However, the intensity and the Bulls' defense would grow more ferocious.
Rodman on Carr. Anderson, baseline drive. And it'll go against Utah.
Utah has not yet scored in the fourth quarter. Could it be happening again?
Chicago's stifling defense began to take its toll on the Jazz.
Dives for it with Stockton. And it's Warner comes away with it.
Harper dives for it. Stockton and Harper. Harper's got it. Turn it over.
And a game that seemed up for grabs. The Bulls had now taken control.
Scottie for 3. It's there, and Anderson fouled him. But the game may be hanging in the balance here, and Sloan knows it.
But the Bulls couldn't shake the resilient Jazz.
Suddenly it's Utah. Does the game turn here?
Come on, Jazz. Come on, Lucky.
And as the game reached its waning moments, Utah seized the advantage.
To Morris on the run. Utah claims the lead.
So after a blowout, we're in for a different kind of ending here in Game 4 in Chicago.
With time winding down, the Bulls would turn to a conventional weapon, the greatest player of all time.
Michael tests him again, and this time gets the hoop. Iverson leaning on him. Michael spins and scores.
Michael Jordan regains the lead.
But it was an unconventional weapon that sealed the game.
With Russell on it. Leans in baseline and misses. Loose ball. Crucial loose ball. It's It's on Malone, his third.
This man wants it a little bit more than everybody else right now.
That's a good foul. Dennis Rodman, a notoriously bad free throw shooter.
You can't be afraid to face the reality of not winning.
Oh, Dennis? Rodman at that free throw line right now. Makes it.
So it didn't faze me at all. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't jittery. You got to go out there and do the job.
In the air. Good again. How about that?
Rodman's free throws had sealed Game 4 and given Chicago a commanding series lead.
And does anyone in America think that Michael Jordan will let this series out of the city of Chicago Friday night?
Right now we're 3-1. We're in control, and tonight was like an appetizer. Friday could be the entree.
Tonight, Game 5 of the 1998 NBA Finals, and a win for the Bulls caps the repeat three-peat.
Tonight going back to Utah.
Tonight is the night. Welcome to United Center, where the city of Chicago is bracing for a celebration, while the Utah Jazz is trying to keep that party on hold.
Getting ready for Game 5. Is this the last one, Billy?
Yes, it is.
The stage is set for a celebration. So what the Utah Jazz faces is simply this. They've got to make this a competition, not a coronation.
Stockton and Malone, two of the top 50 players in the history of this game. If this game is going to go back to Game 6, then these two guys must get it done tonight.
We lay it on the basketball court. We come out off the court. We all celebrate, and Joe's going to be happy. Let's go, baby.
And early on, it seemed that Tony Kukoc would personally lead the way to the Bulls' coronation, as he launched a one-man barrage in the first quarter.
A pass inside for Kukoc, and it's Chicago's first basket, plus a foul. Jordan to Kukoc. Kukoc inside. Another chance for a three-point play. Kukoc getting off early. Kukoc, and he now has 10. Kukoc for the tie. He has all but one of Chicago's points.
But standing between the Bulls and the championship was Karl Malone, who was intent on sending the series back to Utah.
Malone's first shot is there. Malone again over Rodman, and he hits two of his first three. Malone over Rodman, hits the jumper.
That was an aggressive move.
Malone over Rodman and got it. This is what he has to do.
As the mailmen scored at will, the Bulls would begin to unravel.
I sense a little anxiety, a little tightness here in Chicago.
It may be a lack of focus preparing for the parade and the celebration.
While Chicago struggled, Malone was lifting his play even higher.
Oh, baby! Where did that come from?
Even the continued heroics of Kukoc would not be enough, as the festive atmosphere had now been turned into stunned silence by Malone's classic 39-point performance.
Pushing back toward Utah.
But with the Bulls trailing by 2, there was time for Jordan to try and write a storybook ending.
Into Jordan, a prayer. We go to Utah. Rip up the headlines. It is very much a series.
And what a quiet crowd all of a sudden. All those plans for the parade, for the victory celebration, for the awarding of the trophy. Out the window, baby! We're going to Salt Lake City.
This is it, baby. The Jazz have forced the Game 6. Can they stay alive and take it to 7? Both games here in Salt Lake City. The crowd is going nuts.
Here at the Delta Center, welcome to Game 6. The Chicago Bulls show up having lost the home court advantage in the finals, but the Bulls are a confident team. They have never lost a Game 6 in their finals history.
Facing a raucous Utah crowd and a revitalized Jazz team, Scottie Pippen and the Bulls would be dealt another ominous setback in the early moments of Game 6.
Bob, I think Scottie Pippen pulled his back out on that dunk shot.
And with Pippen hobbled, the Jazz would immediately capitalize on his absence.
Malone gets his first. Malone against Wennington. Off balance, hit it, plus the fouls.
They roar their approval at the Delta Center as the first quarter comes to an end.
With Utah surging and Pippen's status in doubt, the Bulls' fate would be placed in familiar hands.
Jordan, there's his first field goal. Jordan for 3, got it. Jordan over Russell. Tied at 22. Jordan wheels inside around Anderson. And again, it's a 2-point game. Jordan, daylight for 3.
Michael feels right now he can make every shot he takes.
The Jazz simply had no answers for Jordan, who would scorch them for 23 points in the first half.
Michael springs free and takes the lob from Kukoc. Jordan for 3.
Michael Jordan sticks his third three-pointer of the half.
But Utah's 2 superstars would now respond as one, working in tandem, as they had done so many times before.
Stockton from Malone. Malone tries to answer, and can, and he has 20. A Jordan-Malone duel shaping up in Game 6.
As the second half began, one question remained.
And Scottie Pippen is back out here on the floor. Whether or not he'll be able to play and play effectively, we'll find out. He is starting the second half.
Between the rings, Harper.
Pippen giving it his best, and that time it was good enough.
With Pippen back on the court, the Bulls would battle the Jazz to a standstill for most of the second half.
Jordan against Anderson. He's still Michael Jordan.
But while the Jazz searched in vain for a way to somehow contain the red-hot Jordan, Utah was being lifted by an inspired Karl Malone.
The jumper by Karl. Utah back in front.
And as the clock ticked down on this crucial game, it seemed destined to come down to its final moments.
3 seconds to shoot. Harper's not the guy they want to have do it, but he has to. And he beats the shot clock and cans a huge shot.
Finally, with the score tied and less than a minute remaining, Utah would have its chance to seize control.
Cross-court Stockton, a 3. It's there!
Stockton with a cold-blooded 3, and Utah takes the lead.
Now in the waning seconds, the Bulls would face yet another critical challenge. With the Jazz poised to force a 7th game, Chicago's incomparable will would be tested one more time.
Michael working on Russell, brings them to within 1.
Stockton inside of Karl Malone, they double it.
Malone is doubled. They swat at it and steal it.
Jordan knocks it away from him. Jordan's got it. The Bulls can win it right here. The Bulls can win it.
Jordan, open. Chicago with the lead.
He scores. The Bulls lead 87-86 with 5 2/10 left.
Jordan heroics was on full display, but John Stockton had a chance for a game-winning three-pointer that falls short, giving the Bulls their 6th NBA title in 8 years.
The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship, and it's their 2nd three-peat.
To the Chicago Bulls, the 1998 NBA champion, and a team for the ages. Congratulations.
In 1984, the Bulls were coming off a dreary 27-55 season. Using the 3rd pick in the draft, they chose a guard from North Carolina named Michael Jordan, and Chicago basketball would never seem dreary again.
Jordan. 10 count for Michael. Here's Jordan down the middle all the way. Jordan. There's a kaboom. Quickly in front court to Jordan. Looking for penetration. Spin move. Hangs in the air off the glass and in.
The next 6 years will be devoted to surrounding Michael with a group of spirited and unselfish players capable of mounting a championship run. By 1991, the journey was finally complete. Fittingly, it would be Magic Johnson's Lakers, one of the great champions of the 80s, who would cede their crown to the Bulls.
A spectacular move by Michael Jordan. The Chicago Bulls have won their first ever NBA championship.
Season after season, the Bulls would come back, courageously defend what they felt was rightfully theirs.
Chicago Bulls have won the NBA championship for the 2nd straight season.
And while some of the faces have changed over the years, the standard of excellence has never wavered.
There it is. 70 has become a reality for the Chicago Bulls.
It is Michael Jordan time. Did not have the shot. 5 seconds remaining. The
championship in the last 7 years.
Over an 8-year span, they would be crowned champions 6 times, establishing themselves as one of sport's proudest dynasties.
You know, all I wanted to do when I was young was maybe play in college and be a college basketball player. I never thought I'd make it to the NBA. And even once I made it to the NBA, I certainly never expected all of this, you know, to win championships and to hit a game-winning shot. It's been amazing, and I'm a lucky man.
Every day, I'm gonna remember every day, every practice, everything that happened on the road, everything. These are the things that you don't forget.
I'm gonna miss those closed door meetings where everyone could just relax and say whatever they wanted to say, because it was only the coaching staff and the players, and we'd discuss problems that were going on with the team, and everyone was very vocal, and I'm really gonna miss those moments.
We have this great unity where everyone has their own way of doing things, their own mindset, and we respect that. And then once we come together in that circle, we put it all together, and you have a full sun.
We've shared a lot together, and it's very saddening when you have to think that it could be over. But the guys will be in touch, and 10 years from now, the guys will know where everyone is and what's going on, because there's a bond there, a unity that we have, that we've shared hard times together and some great times.
A lot of things that go into it that made this team as probably united or as collectively as together as any team's been in the last 25 years in professional basketball.
I was just thinking the other day that I've coached Michael now for 13 years, which is longer than any coach he's ever had. How fortunate can an old man like me be to have that opportunity at this stage in my life?
To be his teammate for the past 4 years, I mean, I can go tell my own kids that here's a guy who loves his job. And every day he steps out there, he wants to improve.
I want to take my hat off to the 2 leaders on this team, Scotty and Michael.
My career started here as well as Phil back in 1987, and we came here to join along with Michael, and our relationship has just continued to bond from that point, and we've grown to have more of a friendship as well as a basketball relationship.
The most things that I will remember about this team is how we've been able to connect mentally as well as physically on the basketball court each and every night. That is special, and that's something that you have to remember.
And for all the highlights, all the triumphs, and all the challenges met, the Chicago Bulls of the 90s will leave behind a legacy of individual will and championship grace that will never be forgotten.